Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. We are going to get into these play-in games for you guys here, starting with the Eastern Conference today. As always, make sure you are liked and subscribed to the page. Jump in those comments. We're going to have a gift card prop here for you guys in just a minute. And as always, if you do need a FanDuel account or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Make sure you find all those local listings in your area and a few pretty cool promos on DraftKings, Nate, that I did want to bring up real quick for anybody, really, not even just new users at this point, but anybody who bets $25 on an NBA champion future bet for who you think will win the championship. You will win $5 to bet with for each round of the NBA playoffs that team advances with. So if I chose the Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship as a futures bet, every round that they advanced, I would earn a new $5 to be able to bet on whatever I wanted in those NBA playoffs. And then every day that you bet $25 on the NBA playoffs, you just automatically get $5 free to bet with. So some great incentive to just make any bet on the NBA playoffs overall. And then there are 33% parlay boosts that you can use on the NBA playoffs in any game. Make sure you check out the details there. But that's 3 bets to make that are parlays that you can go ahead and just get an automatic 33% extra juice on those winnings. So that's a pretty cool promo there as well. Make sure you guys check that stuff out. And Nate, let's just jump into those lines here and a little bit about what we are going to start getting into for the Eastern Conference playing games.
Yeah, I like those promos, especially in a year where things are going to be a lot more shaken up than usual. You know, you got some 8-1 and 7-2 upsets that might actually happen. So definitely a good time to be betting in pretty much every series. We're looking at the Eastern playoff games. It starts with the Pacers hosting the Hornets. They are -3 at home. We don't know if Malcolm Brogdon is going to play, although he did go through practice on Monday. It sounds very likely he will play. If not, why are you resting that hammy for so long? My man, this is do or die. The over-under is 227.5 right now, bet down a little bit from 229. As we know, the Pacers have been putting up some insane totals. That was our gift card, right? Nobody got up to 275 in their last game. But this is a different animal. And we are looking at the Wizards +2 at Celtics in the second game. Celtics -130 on the money line. And the total there is 232.5 now. Bet went up briefly to 234, but now back down. So just a lot of angles to pick from there. We also got our player props up, Josh, and I'll let you lead it off with that first game tonight. What are you thinking about betting?
Yeah, I mean, as far as player props for the Pacers tonight, a lot of P's there. You'll have to wait a minute until we do know a little bit more about the status of Malcolm Brogdon. He did practice today. It does seem like he's likely to play tomorrow, which will then open up those props for the Pacers, rest of the Pacers players. I'll start with the game overall here and a few of the, options you have. As you mentioned, Gordon Hayward's out. That's huge. Cody Martin also out for Charlotte. I'm looking at really the last 5 games of the season are a pretty good sample of what the Charlotte Hornets are right now without Gordon Hayward. They've lost all 5 to end the season by an average of about 9 points. They're on the road tonight. They're 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 road games. And they're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 meetings versus these Pacers. Really, really bad overall in offensive rating. That's really what I'm looking at without Gordon Hayward. 107 points per game. And in their last 5, they've been giving up about 115, scoring about the same 107 points or so without Gordon Hayward, like I said. So their defensive rating also goes up. They give up a bunch more points, about 4 points per 100 possessions when Gordon Hayward is not on the floor. I do think that's a pretty good sample size of what you're going to get from this Hornets team, especially with nobody else with any real playoff experience other than, Scary Terry. Which is why I do, just sticking with that team for a minute, I do like Terry's props there in terms of his points, specifically 21.5 points. He averages about 22 when Gordon Hayward sits this season. And I think he's going to be the guy that's going to go ahead and play a bit of hero ball in those moments where Charlotte starts to seem stagnant and might need a bit more offense than they're getting from their wing players and their young players. And if Malcolm Brogdon does play, Indiana, they're about 3 points per 100 possessions better on defense when Brogdon does play. It's actually indicative. He's only played 3 of their last 13 games, and the over has gone over in 10 of 13. Just one of those that he was playing in didn't So, that is something to keep an eye out for. But really, I think, the Hornets have been blown out a lot recently in their last 5, as we mentioned. And when you look at what Indiana's done against bad teams, in 8 of their last 9 games versus losing teams and non-playoff teams, they've won by 6 points at least in all those games. I would actually consider on that an alternative spread up 3 points or so to about 5. Get about plus 120 on my money at DraftKings there. Make that a little bit more worth it, because I could easily see a blowout. Another reason why I like 115 points for the team total for the Pacers. I do think that they can reach that against a Hornets team that has been very bad on offense and almost equally as bad on defense as of late without Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I agree. I think you attack with the Pacers offense, not necessarily trusting their defense, but they come at you and they attack with so many playmakers, with Sabonis distributing from that low post, with LeVert getting to the rim, even TJ McConnell breaking down your defense. And the Hornets defense, as we said, has been bad all year. It's been worse than the numbers would indicate. They give up this terrible shot diet in terms of what teams get at the rim, on the perimeter, in the mid-range. I think Indiana will come out playing very well on offense and get over that 115. And I agree. I don't think the Hornets can match. They have the worst offensive rating among playoff teams. It's kind of a case of just happy to be here, Bob. That's what the play-in game will get you sometimes. It's just that they're the 9th seed. They don't really deserve to be in the playoffs. They might try to go out there and prove that they do, but I think the Pacers, they have done well against bad teams this year. They just can't get over the hump against a good team.
They're the 10th seed, by the way.
Yes.
Yep. So, yeah, they didn't, to your point, the Hornets have not made a run at it all season. The only thing that scares me about Indiana's offense is the fact that LeVert and Sabonis have been clicking a lot lately. And we'll see if Malcolm Brogdon comes in and actually might potentially disrupt the flow of LeVert having the ball in his hands a ton, with Sabonis playing that pick and roll with him. So I'm not loving much of the overs either way, but I do feel pretty good about a total there, even bumping it up a bit. So
good call. Okay, moving to the uber inconsistent Celtics and the red hot Wizards, who won 17 of their last 23 to get that 8th spot against all odds. In that span, they are 4th in offense and 5th in net rating. And what is really key in the NBA, right? They're 5th in 3-point percentage and 5th in 3-point defense. So the first thing that jumps out to me is I'm thinking under, brother. I'm thinking, first of all, in any of these play-in games, it's kind of like we saw with the All-Star game finish, the Elam ending, right? It's just the intensity is going to be ramped up so much down the stretch. You are going to go home if you don't get stops. There is no game 2. So I obviously lean towards the under there, but the numbers are indicating to me that both these teams are going to have a little bit of trouble on offense, aside from the fact that their last 5 meetings have gone under. So that's the simple thing. But Westbrook, since he joined the Wizards, has been pretty terrible against the Celtics. 16.3 points per game, 35% field goal shooting, over 5 turnovers a game. Bradley Beal has picked him up with 40 points per game, but also turning it over 5.5 times per game. So the Wizards pretty solid in terms of defending the 3-point line, but they have a weak assist to field goal ratio allowed. Well, that's not really a problem against the Celtics team that is all ISO lately. They're 27th in assist to field goal ratios made. And now that it's just Jason Tatum's team with no Jaylen Brown, it's going to be ISO all day. I don't think that nets consistency. The Celtics gone under in their last 3 since that Jaylen Brown news. 25th in offensive rating, dropped all the way to 21st in pace during that span. Tatum does average more points, but way less efficiency without Brown. You look at them just since the All-Star break at home, they're 9-10. They're 20th in offensive rating, scoring about 114, which is solid, but not necessarily going to get you there. And where they've really struggled defensively is they're dead freaking last in 3-point percentage allowed in that span, but Washington just is second to last in 3-point attempts. So basically, to summarize, like these teams, where they struggle is not where the other team thrives. And that's why the last 5 game meetings have gone under. And that's why we're liking the under again today. An interesting hack that I think about with these games, though, because it's a playing game. Like I said, I really don't imagine a blowout, especially with Russell Westbrook on one side. If you just take the Celtics to win by 1 to 10 points, which is a huge berth there, you're getting plus 170 on FanDuel, or plus 185 actually. I don't see why that's really that different from the money line in my mind. I mean, yes, there is a chance of a blowout here, but I think we'll definitely see a close game down the stretch, a potential shootout. But when it comes down to it, the Wizards have lost 9 of their last 10 on the road against winning teams. They've won the games they could win otherwise, but they have not stepped it up, and that includes a 1 point loss to the Celtics all the way back on February 28th. Maybe we see another situation like that where you cash in on that 1 to 10 point margin.
Yeah, I like that. To be honest, I don't see the Celtics being able to blow out the Wizards, to your point. I do honestly see there being a possibility of the Wizards blowing out the Celtics, rather. When you look at how many games this season the Boston Celtics have been down by 20 points, it's ridiculous. It's somewhere like 13 or 14 games at 20, and more than half of their games they've been down by 10 points at one point or another. So they will roll over to a degree, right? You
Then they'll come storming back and have a moral victory of losing by a few. Yeah.
right. I feel good about that. And I mean, look, both these teams, they will have another shot. This is the 7-8 game. So they will, even if the loser will have another shot to still, capture that 8 seed against the winner of the Pacers and the Hornets. But either way, I think that you've got to think both teams want to beat each other tonight and avoid, be able to get a little bit more rest. So you look at Tatum, as you said, like I'm not feeling great about it. I don't know. He does come to play in the playoffs for the most part. We've seen in his career, he's put together some nice games, even as a young player, at least offensively in terms of scoring, even if that didn't turn out in Celtics wins. I think real quick, I did want to interject to give out that gift card opportunity for everyone and offer up the St. Louis boys, both Tatum and Beal, playing in this game. We're looking for their combined points in that game of Jason Tatum and Bradley Beal. So make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page to be able to be eligible for that gift card. After you jump in the comments, let us know what you think there. I think no matter what you say about what's been up with the Brody against the Celtics as of late, I do think the try hard will be there for him. There's a lot more just gusto in the way of the Wizards right now, and a lot more to bank on in recent history about who's going to come to play tonight. I think the 1 to 10 points. I love that if you think the Celtics will win. If you think the Celtics will win, grab that. It's way better than the money line, obviously. And I don't see a blowout possible at all. So I think that's a really nice little safe play if you're into the Celtics winning. Worth it anyway, honestly. So
yeah, and let me give you some of the other props I'm looking at in that game. To your point, because let's say the Celtics start slow as they have all season. You can get Wizards win the first quarter, Celtics win the game at plus 400. I mean, that seems like a kind of a random thing for most teams, not with the Celtics.
Yeah.
You can get Kemba Walker to get 20 plus points in a win at plus 112. I think that's very likely. I don't think the Celtics are going to win without him turning back the clock a little bit. He is now the number 2 option. His usage rate rises considerably without Jalen, and he averaged 23 points per game in 2 meetings with Washington. You can get a nice little cheapie here. Tatum over 0.5 blocks, plus 110 at DraftKings. He's 7 feet tall, and he has a ridiculous wingspan. He will block a shot, I'm almost certain. And as I'm saying, like, honestly, Westbrook, 13 and a half assists. Are you kidding me, man? I mean, I know he's been doing this during the regular season. He's been putting up 20 assists. I don't think he'll do it against the Celtics team that is 7th in assist to turnover ratio allowed. That has held him to 7.7 assists per game in their last 3 meetings. And that is playing with playoff intensity now. So those are the ones I prefer in that game.
Yeah, I think, Vegas agrees with you, considering that under 13 and a half assists for Westbrook is at minus 130. They also seem to agree with your thinking about how things get ramped up right now in the playoffs. I would say as far as some props on this game for, that Wizards Celtics game, there's a lot to like in terms of player performances on both sides of the ball. As you'll see, the 2 stars at this point in terms of Kemba being that supporting actor. Yeah, if they're gonna get close to 110 points this season, they're gonna need Kemba to be putting up about 20 plus. So I'm with that. that is all the time that we have on today's Eastern Conference episode of the Playing Games. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Let us know what you think the total points scored between Bradley Beal and Jason Tatum will be in that Wizards and Celtics game. And we will be back with another episode for those Western Conference Playing Games and have some fun with the Lakers and Warriors for sure. But until that time, y'all, happy betting.